Good day, students. Welcome to mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over our TI84, 89, and 83 tutorials, tips and tricks for calculus. We're going to be focusing on how to find points of intersection of two functions using the calculator. Okay, so let's take a look at this situation right here. Let's just focus on how to calculate the point of intersection here. So what are the coordinates of this point of intersection? That's a required step if you want to calculate the area bounded by these two functions. Alright, so before we get started, let's take a look at the steps that we're going to follow real quick, just general steps. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter the functions. Okay, enter the functions in the graphing window, in the Y window. You can calculate the point of intersection without using the graphing window, but that's another tutorial. We're just going to focus on how to use the graphs to calculate the points of intersection. Now, after entering the two functions, you're going to graph the functions, and now the work starts in calculating the point of intersection. You're going to go to the math menu, there are different math menus, but this one is particularly the math menu in the graphing window. And then you're going to select the intersection feature. Okay, the intersection calculator. Select intersection, and then next you're going to, it will take you back to the graphing window, and in that window you're going to select the functions that you want to calculate the points of intersection for. So you're going to select two functions. You have to remember that the graphing feature in the calculator is not restricted to two functions. You can graph multiple functions. So when you're calculating the intersection, you have to specify the two functions you want to compute the intersections for. Alright, so after selecting the two functions, you have to specify the domain where that point of intersection exists. So basically you do that by specifying the boundaries. Okay, specify the boundaries, the left and right boundaries that contain your point of intersection. Okay, so specify boundaries. Alright, so let's say for this particular situation, if my left boundary, if this is my left boundary right here, and this is my right boundary right here, what the calculator is going to do is it's going to calculate the point of intersection of the two functions that exists within these two boundaries. Okay, so this is the left boundary, so we're going to be looking to the right for the intersection, and this is the right boundary, so the calculator is going to be looking to the left of this boundary for the point of intersection. So if you have only one point of intersection in that boundary, then it will return the point of intersection for you. Okay, so when you do all that, you just now going to just go ahead and calculate the point of intersection. Okay, so find the intersection just by pressing the enter button. Alright, so let's go ahead and apply these steps to this particular scenario that we're looking at. Question number 1, we can see the two functions, 1 minus x to the third and the trig function y equals sine of x squared. We're going to start off with the TI89 procedure. It's pretty similar with the other calculators too, so let's do TI89 first. So we're going to enter the first function, y1, 1. So let me take you back to the home screen. So if this is the home screen, what you're going to do is you're going to access the graphing window. So there goes the graphing window access button right there. So you just press diamond F1, which will give you access to the Y window. Okay, so this is where you enter your functions. As you can see, multiple functions can be entered. Alright, so we're just going to enter two functions because we have only two functions in this problem, and we need two functions to calculate the point of intersection. So we have 1 minus x to the third, enter, and then the second function is sine of x raised to the second power, enter. Okay, so these are the two functions that we have entered. That's option 1. Step 1, now we're going to proceed to graph. So we're going to use the graph button right here. Diamond F3 will take us to the graphing window. Alright, so because of my previous setting, that's why it looks this way. So let me zoom 6 to give us the standard graphing window. Zoom 6, enter. Okay, so we see a lot going on here. What we want to do is we want to capture the window of this displayed graph that closely resembles what we have here. Okay, so the quickest way to do this is to use the zoom box feature. So we're going to have our zoom box zoom into this little area right here so we can easily compute, set our boundaries and calculate the intersection. Okay, so zoom box is in option F2 right here. You see that in your graphing window. F2 is for zoom calculations. Let me make my calculator a little bit bigger. Okay, so F2, zoom box, enter. So whatever the boundaries you specify for the box, that window will be the new window for your graphing display. Okay, so I'm going to take my cursor to the upper left corner here. This point specifies the upper left corner of the window we're going to display. Alright, press enter. So it fixes that point. That's the upper left corner of your window. So drag it down, down, down. We don't want to go too low, and then to the right, past that first point of intersection right there. Okay, so this little box, this area enclosed by the box, is what our new window will look like. Okay, second corner, press enter. It automatically recreates the graph within the specified window. And then we can see it looks similar to what we have here, even though it's not perfect. Okay, so the beauty of this is it cancels the noise, the other distractions going on, and it helps us to focus in on the exact point of intersection that we desire. Okay, so we have our window set up. Now let's go ahead and calculate our point of intersection. We're now going to go to the math menu. You see it tells you math right there. Press F5 for the math menu, and we're going to go down to what? Intersection. Okay, F5 is the math menu. Step 3, intersection is step 4. Press enter. Now it's going to ask you some questions. Alright, first of all, it wants you to specify the two curves because there could be more than two curves there. So it says curve 1, which is a cubic one. Press enter. Curve 2, second curve, see the question mark, press enter. So if you notice, it has marked the two curves. Okay, so it's going to calculate the intersection of these two curves just in case you have more than two graphed. Now lower bound, you want to specify an x value to the left of the point of intersection. That's your lower bound. So just move your cursor to anywhere to the left of this point of intersection. Press enter. Now you see that arrow? That arrow tells you that the calculator is going to be looking to the right of this x value to compute the point of intersection. It asks for an upper bound, so we need an x value that's bigger or to the right of the point of intersection. So just move your cursor to anywhere to the right of the point of intersection. Press enter, and bam, it gives you the point of intersection. So the answer is 0.764972 and 0.552352. So let's go ahead and write that down. XY is 0.76. I forgot the answer already, so let me call it back up. 764972. 764972 for the x, and then for the y, it's 0.552352. So 0.552352. And that's the point of intersection. Okay? Now let's go ahead and carry out the same procedure using the TI84. So we're going to enter the two functions. First one is 1 minus x to the third. The process is very similar. So you just press your y and then go 1 minus x raised to the third power, enter, and then sine of x to the second power, enter. Graph. Alright, I'm going to use the zoom box feature here again. So press zoom box, enter, and then move your cursor to the upper left corner. This cursor is much smaller than that of the TI89. Enter, drag it down, 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 a little bit below the x-axis to the right past the point of intersection. Press enter, and there goes your graph displaying the relevant region that we care about. Okay, so we need to find this point of intersection. So what are we going to do? In the TI89, it's called math. Here it's called calculate. Above trace, you see that calculate. That's a calculate or math option for the TI84 and 83. So the second function, calculate, takes you to the math or calculate feature for the graphing window. We're looking for intersect, option 5. So we're asked the same question. First curve, enter, it's marked. Second curve, enter, is marked also. Now this is a neat little difference here. The TI84 software requires you to move your cursor to the point of intersection that you would like to calculate. It asks for a guess option. So guess, where do you want to find the point of intersection of? So move your cursor very close to that point, and then the calculator will return the point of intersection as the answer. Alright? Press enter. Bam! We got the same answer as the TI89. Alrighty? So that's basically how you calculate the point of intersection using your graphing calculators. Alright, let's try another example, question number 2. Now let's say we have two functions here. One of them is y equals 3 minus x squared, and the other is y equals 2 to the x power. Alright, there are 2 points of intersection here. Let's call this P2 and P1. Alright, so find the coordinates of P2. Let's say you wanted to calculate the area of this region right here. You need to know your x boundaries because you have a situation where the function, this exponential function, is on the top of the of this region up to this point P2, and then the quadratic binomial is on the top of the region up to here. So if you want to compute this area, you need to know this point of intersection so you can split up your area to your regions to compute the area. Okay, so that's something for later. Let's just focus on how to calculate the point of intersection. Alrighty. Okay, so what we're going to do is follow the steps that we we used earlier. So we're going to start with the TI89 calculator. Alright, so you know what the steps are. Just go to the Y window. We're going to clear up the previous entry. Enter the two functions, 3 minus x squared. This is a parabola that has been reflected downwards and shifted 3 units up, so you can easily see that this parabola right here is the first function. Okay, and then press enter, and then the second one is 2 raised to the x power, our exponential function right there. Alright, let's go ahead and graph. And all we see is a portion of the quadratic and the exponential function. So let's zoom. What zoom option do we want to use here? How about we zoom standard and see what it looks like. Bam, there goes your parabola and then your exponential function. We're looking for this point of intersection right here. So let me use the zoom box feature again to make our focus clearer. So zoom box upper left corner, let's move it somewhere here. I want to make my graph that's been displayed similar to what's given here. Upper left corner right there. Enter, that's a good point. Down slightly below the x-axis to the right. We just care about quadrants 1 and 2. Slightly past that second point of intersection. Enter. Alright, so there goes your parabola and your exponential function. 2 points of intersection, P1, P2. We need to calculate this point of intersection right here. Okay, so let's do it. F5. We're looking for the intersection feature. Option 5, press enter. Same questions. First curve, enter, it's marked. Second curve, enter, it's marked. Lower bound, move your cursor to any point to the left of the point of intersection, enter. Upper bound, move your cursor to the right of the point of intersection, enter. Bam, your point of intersection is 1, 2. Okay, so P2 is 1, 2. So that's basically how you calculate the points of intersection using the TI89 calculator. Now let's do the same process with our TI84. So go to Y, clear out the functions. Y1, enter your quadratic binomial, 3 minus x squared. And then secondly, the exponential function 2 to the x. Enter, and go ahead and hit graph. I don't like what I see, so I'm going to zoom 6, zoom standard. The parabola and your exponential function. Let's use the box to narrow our focus into a window that displays the relevant components clearly. So that's my upper left corner there. Press enter. Scroll down slightly below the x-axis and then to the right past your second point of intersection. Press enter. And you have a nice little window here displaying the graphs clearly. Now let's calculate. Remember, trace button, the blue option for the trace button is the calculate feature. So second function, calculate. Intersect, scroll down to option 5, enter. As for the first curve, the quadratic, enter. Second curve, the exponential, so the name comes up, enter. Guess, how does this work? Remember, for guess, just move your spider or your cursor to the point of intersection you want to calculate. Press enter, bam, and it returns your point of intersection. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. Really appreciate it. If you found the contents of this tutorial helpful in your studies on how to use your TI89 or 84 or 83 calculators, do give us a thumbs up. Your positive feedback is very valuable to us. For questions or comments about your calculator, just place it in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to support you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for updates to other great calculus tutorials such as this. More clips, tools, and support resources can be found on mathgotserved.com. Go ahead and check it out. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.